So hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Water Cooler Chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's orchestrating, delegating, transcoding, orchestrating, or AI inference. We're here to ask questions and get answers. So we got a couple topics today: AI models, ingest nodes, Aquarium roadmap, Treasury proposals, and so forth. I'd like to quickly jump on to the topic around, what we've been seeing with new nodes, I guess, that maybe Livepeer Studio is spinning up. That was also one of my topics, Mike, but I probably don't know any more than you do. So do you want to tell us what you've seen and kick us off with your topic?
Well, Marco posted some stuff about new regions showing up if you look at the Vercel app. And so I just started poking around, taking a look, and there's quite a few of them in there. Um, ATL, Miami, STO, Sydney, Australia. It just looks like a whole slew of Madrid. And again, I have varying test results. It looks like for my main node, all of them are real time, which is a good thing. But I'm sure there's quite a few orcs that may want to check their performance scores, check the leaderboard. I think the Livepeer Explorer still does not show the new regions, but I think the scores are affected by it. So just a heads up, primarily for folks that are unaware of it, but didn't know if there was anyone in the audience knows about that, or is there actual work going in through streams coming from those regions? So that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I'm just on the Vercel app right now. I just put my address in, but it's just showing no records to display. Is that are they showing up there for you, or
You gotta hit lookup. For whatever reason, that app's been rather slow. But if you hit lookup for the first time, and again, I'll post it in the chat for folks that don't know what the Vercel app is. So I just posted it in the chat. But if you hit lookup, and you got to give it a second or two because it can be slow. I'm not sure why all of a sudden, but
you must be hammering it right now because it's not loading?
I would hope not.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's not showing up for me either right now either.
I'm telling you. As soon as Mike lets us know, we're hammering it. That's very interesting. I think
we got to interpret. I was going to say, we have interpreter here right now. Maybe he has some insight on if, or can look up and see what the traffic's looking like on the web, on the Vercel app right now.
Oh, I see errors actually.
Interpreter, are you with us?
I had no problem with it earlier.
Yeah, I'll take a look, but I haven't touched that in ages.
I'm actually,
I don't even think I have traffic monitoring enabled, just to save cost.
I'm getting a CORS error.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. 404 error as well. Interesting. I mean, literally, I was just looking at it prior when you were asking me what my topic was, and I was just looking at the data, and I reloaded it. Now it doesn't work, but I mean, I don't want to get bogged down in the interpreter app. I'm just curious, if there's anyone that can speak on the new regions and if they're actually transcoding now.
Yeah, if you're asking me to weigh in on whether there's new regions of ingest coming from Livepeer Studio, I don't have that information at hand, so I'm not actually sure.
All right, well, maybe we can query the Discord and find out. It's just cool to see. I mean, it's not like one or two. There's a bunch of them. So, and I think that may require some action on orchestrators if we actually are going to, properly provision for those regions. So be good to know.
I can throw out. I haven't been particularly involved in this process. I know there have been for like certain clients coming on board. There's been work to onboard a few new regions to better serve them. I would hesitate though to give any implications of that. I know there have been situations where we've like onboarded a new region with a new provider, found that those servers didn't work out, and spun them back down again, that kind of thing. So you should, yeah, let's get. I would recommend talking to somebody on the studio team to get a more definitive answer about what the long-term plans there are.
Yeah, we'll say if you want, if you want to make wild guesses, head over to the Strong dashboard I just linked, and under leaderboard region, you can maybe get some insight into regions that they've attempted to spin up or are planning to. We've got everything from, I don't even know what some of these are. MOS 2, is that Moscow? MAD, HND, ALT. I know that's Atlanta.
HND's Tokyo. That's their airport call letters, if you will.
Oh, interesting. Well, so I tried to front run Livepeer Studio by guessing where they would put ingest nodes in the future, and I think I got a few right. Definitely got some wrong though. Like I did Sydney. I figured Sydney, Australia was going to be a pretty obvious one. So I nailed that one. Tokyo I thought was an obvious one. I got that one. I did one in India. I don't see one in India though. Yeah, Moscow is interesting. Yeah, no, it's quite exciting to see all these different ingest nodes potentially. Yeah, so otherwise, I guess we have to just wait for an announcement from Livepeer Studio on or Livepeer Inc. I guess is that a studio product or like an Inc. thing? Kind of same thing.
Inc. is studio.
There's one company. Yeah, I mean, there's one company, Livepeer Inc., but the studio product team, business unit, engineering organization, sort of you could think of it as like its own division. And then there's the ecosystem growth team, sort of as a separate division, if you will. But so yeah, the reason I don't know the answer to this is because I'm not intimately involved in the Livepeer Studio like infrastructure and engineering operations to know which data centers they're deploying into and whatnot.
That's right. Yeah, I kind of figured like Inc. is pretty. I mean, they do ecosystem and protocol, and it's not necessarily to do with the ingest nodes of Studio and the product they offer. So, yeah, it sounds like a Studio thing. So we're excited to maybe see if we can get an update from them, or you know what, maybe orchestrators can start just provisioning around these regions that they see fit in general. So very, very exciting. Yeah, as for the regions, I think for the most part, right now, as for traffic, like I'm seeing a lot more traffic on the like Frankfurt and London nodes in the EU region. So it's interesting that they're adding more in the EU side as well as the America side. And I'm wondering if they will add more to the Asiatic areas. Kind of interesting. Does anyone else have anything else to report on the new ingest nodes or traffic that they're seeing?
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of traffic in Frankfurt. Actually, almost all my traffic comes from Frankfurt currently. But it's pretty, from what I've heard from posted and stuff, pretty much across the board.
And is everyone updated to 0.75? I believe that's the one with the latest modifications to accept the latest customer with Studio. Is anyone not upgraded?
I think it was a requirement, so I'm going to assume, unless someone's not getting any work, that they probably have.
I had some issues with building it. For some reason, it wouldn't add the version into the build tags or whatever. So I don't even know how I fixed it, but yeah. So I did have some issues building it, but got it going. Because then I'd also build. Big shout out to Ad Astra for the router. Staying on top of that, he also updated the router so that it's successfully compatible with the versioning and responding with correct versions, so that it works well. Cool. I think we'll move on to the next topic. We'll move on to the AI models and speed. So just a quick question around the AI models. Is Rick here? Hi, Rick.
Yes.
When we're looking at speed of inference, so I have a customer that is spinning up their own. I'm assisting them. I'm going to start by spinning up the gateway node and hosting it for them. They're going to be pointing their app towards my node just for some testing to see if it's a fit for them, and then later on I might educate them on how to spin up their own node with their own ETH payments and whatnot. But they want to use Livepeer because, well, funny enough, they heard about the retroactive funding and the fact that maybe they could get a grant later on if they use us. So they're going to be primarily using the subnet as their first attempt, and then they're going to be using another product called, I think it's called Reptile or Ripple, something like this for their fallback. And so basically we just got into this long conversation around inference time. They want realistic imaging, and so I directed them towards the RealViz Lightning model. But on my 3090, like I'm getting like 14-second inference time, which seems quite high. Is that other people seeing that with that model? Is that the model itself, or is that a connectivity issue? What any opinions on that?
I think the
I have a
3090s
couple
are
of
going to be your
questions.
problem,
Are you
right?
running? You said
Oh,
the
go ahead,
Lightning version,
Papa.
not the regular 4.0.
Yes, the Lightning one.
So how many inference steps are you doing?
Just the default, I think. I didn't tell them to make any. I just said send a prompt and the model. So let the default go.
And you're doing the normal one? I didn't hear that. My microphone.
The 4.0 Lightning.
No, the Lightning. The Lightning.
Okay. Yeah, then you should decrease the number of inference steps because it's not needed for the Lightning models. I think Papa Bear can tell more about it.
I mean, I find 25 for the. For the Lightning model. 6 steps is works pretty well. Depending on the image, you may want to vary that a little bit, but usually 6 steps and a CFG of 2 gives good performance and fast speeds.
What about
do you
the
run the
3090
SFast
versus 4090
optimization
though?
on your
Hold
on your card?
There's two people talking at the same time. Sorry, is somebody?
Oh.
No, Mike and Papa Bear were talking at the same time. So.
Oh, I can't hear Mike. Sorry, I didn't realize that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
Mike.
ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Papa Bear. Say it again.
Oh. Are you running the SFast flag on your node?
No, I'm running just default.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't run SFast, I can see times that long. I'm in 4090, but usually you'll see like for me it'll be like maybe 14 seconds for the first image, maybe 6 for the second, and then after that it's like 900 milliseconds using the Lightning model. So I know Rick in the past has said doesn't recommend SFast, but I've been using it and seems to make a huge difference in speed. So I've been kind of sticking with that, although I am running just the 4.0 regular model right now.
Yeah, I think I can comment that. So in the past we didn't do like the sequential images, and then if you want to do SFast, you have a lot of different routes that you need to pre-trace. So if you have multiple apps requesting different requests, then it will always be very slow for the first request. So I have the code already. I can get it in there now that we do sequential loading. That you will pre-trace. You only need to do 3 pre-traces now to get it to that speed. And then everybody can enable SFast for the text to image. And on my 390, I think without SFast, I see around 1.9 seconds on the Lightning models on the 390.
Okay. So I have to enable SFast to get down to those, or is this
No, it's mainly for the Lightning models. You will need to decrease the number of inference steps. And we in the chat we were discussing this as well. We should provide some sensible defaults there, so that people don't need to notice and don't need to look up the models there. But there's one problem with that. You will lose transparency on the documentation. So the documentation will state a different number of steps than the pipeline is then doing. And there are ways around that, but we have to discuss that.
right?
So for example, you could add another parameter. That would be one way with recommended parameters, and then people know at least that they're using the recommended parameters. And the other way of documenting every model individually is a lot harder because our documentation software doesn't allow that. And so then you have to do that manually. But I agree that we have to give some sensible defaults because this will keep happening to more people with the Lightning models.
And what's the benefit of the Lightning model? Is it better? Like, could I just send them to the non-Lightning model and they get, similar results?
So the Lightning models are
Well, this-
optimized. Yeah, you can. Papa Beer did more testing with this, so he will be.
No,
better.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, the main difference is the speed of the Lightning model is it's optimized to get a good quality image out of fewer steps. So, 6 steps versus 25 to 50 steps for a non Lightning version of this. I mean, if you're using a very similar type of model, so they're just optimized for speed. And depending on the image, sometimes it's a noticeable difference in quality, but for a lot of them, in fact, I've posted some where some people actually prefer the Lightning version. So, um, for when it's just general purpose use, I think the Lightning model is pretty hard to beat.
Right.
If you are definitely wanting better quality, I mean, I have seen better quality out of the non-Lightning version, but you do, pay the price in time and compute.
Okay, so you do get better. You get potentially better quality out of the non-Lightning model.
Yes, it can do better quality. And again, depending on what image you're trying to make, it may or may not be a huge difference, but it's capable of doing higher quality.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, because they care about quality a lot. Speed is just important because they need to set their timeouts. Like I think they have their timeouts set to 10 seconds. And I was like, like my 3090 is doing it in 14 seconds. Like it literally just not even meeting their, like, I'm sure they would be okay increasing it, but quality is what they really care about. So maybe I should direct them to the non-Lightning model. What you're saying?
I mean, I would have them test it out and see maybe see if which one works better for them, and then let us know so that we can make sure we have them running on the network.
Yeah, and
We
I
have a
can.
lot more people running the Lightning model.
Yeah, and I can get the SFast in there
Okay.
quite quickly because I already have the code.
Right.
So the pre-tracing to be more specific.
Another thing was the documentation on the fast API for like the port 8000/docs was different. It didn't include like the number of steps and like a couple of those.
Let me check that.
But the documentation on the website is like shows more parameters that you can input. So I'm just wondering like which one is correct.
Can you repeat which documentation?
So this one right here. So number of inference steps, the one you just linked, it's there. But if you if you open up a gateway node and go to port 8000 /docs,
the runner.
the runner, yeah, it doesn't include that.
It should be there. It's the same spec. I can check it for you.
check your Docker image version. Make sure you're running if you go to the orchestrator announcements channel, make sure that you're running the most recent, because that was added after the release of the subnet. So there were a couple releases that included some additional features, and num inference steps came in later.
Oh, so you're saying that it might be just my old, but I think I pulled the latest Docker in. Huh. Okay. Well, let me pull the latest Docker image and get back to you. Maybe. Well. But anyway, yeah, just under the text to image docs. Yeah, they were not there.
That's cool that you have a customer you're guiding through the network. That's awesome.
Yeah. It all started because of the funny enough, the Livepeer Innovators DAO conversation. We're like, hey, we want retroactive funding, and so they kind of told me about their project, and I was like, okay, that literally is what the subnet does. They want to do text to image and then text to video. But I'm like, well, yeah, you just do text to image, image to video. Those are already the pipelines we have in the network. They were like, okay, perfect. They're already using they're paying hundreds of dollars a month for some APIs during their building process. And I was like, okay, well, why don't you just connect to my gateway node? I'll load it up with some ETH, and you can just fire away at it while it's in testing, see if you like it. And in doing so, like, you already have the front, you're already building the app. Like, the failover logic shouldn't be too difficult. They were like, no, it's like, just wait 10 seconds. If nothing comes back, we'll switch to our regular APIs. So, yeah, it's very interesting. But I'm excited. I'm eager to help them, but I'm also hesitant just because of the state of the Livepeer Innovators DAO and retroactive funding. I don't want to make promises yet. So, yeah, but yeah, very interesting to see a use case.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right on. Cool. Okay.
One other thing, as you mentioned text to video. Marco has a pipeline to include text to video as part of the feature set for the AI subnet. It hasn't merged yet, but there's definitely some work going into text to video. So I don't know how soon that would make it into the pipelines, but it is on there is code working that Marco's done for that.
Yeah, I didn't review it yet. One moment.
Yeah,
Is that one already ready? Or he has it in draft, I think, still. Let me check.
Yeah, I don't think it's finished yet, but I know he was using it, playing around with it. So there may be a feature coming up in the near term that has that. So just keep an eye out.
Yeah, I think he has now it as reviewed, so I can review it. So we'll look at it when I find the time. And on that note, we just merged the upscaling pipeline in there. Thanks a lot for Mike and the cloud team for providing that one. So that one is now on the network. I will make an announcement about it.
Yeah. Also, just for people to know, I made Let's Generate.ai open source. So it is available to view some terrible code if you feel like looking. It's very ugly and not organized, and the docs may work. So yeah, feel free to rummage through that if you wish. Hard-coded variables, yes, it's all very fun. But yeah, I just put it out there because it doesn't, not overly proprietary. I think it's just interesting if I can share somebody's or share the ability for someone to integrate Livepeer into some sort of front end. Yeah, super not secure right now, but yeah. So Let's Generate.ai is now public repo.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks for doing that, Tyler. I see it. GitHub repo. I will share it here. So Marco states something about the text to video as well. Yeah, he says that it's working, but he needs to clean up the pull request first. So Marco, if you can let me know when it's ready, I can review. Thanks a lot.
Cool. Great. Let's keep going on. We got a topic. Doug, you mentioned Treasury proposal call coming up on Wednesday. Do you want to give us some background on what the Treasury call is, what kind of topics would be covered, and the goals of it?
Yes, definitely. So when the Livepeer Treasury was created and deployed on chain, we hosted a bi-weekly half an hour sort of office hours session where anyone could drop in just to discuss Treasury topics, including ideas that they had, pre-proposals that were being discussed, live and active proposals that were being voted on. It was an opportunity for proposers to show up and ask for feedback or sort of answer questions for the community. And it was pretty helpful. And then we sort of stopped doing them for two reasons. One is there was a period where there actually wasn't a lot of active proposals being made. And the other thing is because the set was limited, this water cooler chat actually sort of became the forum where the proposals were being discussed. And it has continued to be, and it's a pretty good option. But when you look at the flurry of activity within the past month or so, all the proposals around the AI SPE, the cloud SPE, the Fantisi proposal, LID is coming up. There's a liquidity SPE proposal. There's Aquarium. There's maybe even more things being discussed out there. It's a lot, and that's not the purpose of this water cooler chat necessarily, which is for orchestrators to show up and suggest topics and go wherever those topics take them. And so Rich O'Grady on the ecosystem growth team at his operations said, "Oh, it'd be great to bring back that call and to bring some structure to it." So I think he's shared a light agenda of some of the active proposals so people know what they are. He may reach out or will reach out to some potential proposers to make sure that they can be there, be available to answer questions for their discussion. And just wanted to get that back as a recurring thing on the calendar. So I think if you're interested in debating, discussing the proposals, the pre-proposals, and ideas for the management of the Treasury itself, those calls on a biweekly basis will be a good thing to bookmark. They're scheduled as events in the Discord.
Very good. Yeah. So if people want to make proposals, that would be the best place to direct them to have a conversation around their proposal, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously the forum is a great place to lay out your ideas or a pre-proposal. Discord, you can get async feedback, but to really show up, to engage with people directly, answer questions real time is probably a good step for any proposer. I know people who have done proposals have taken the time to do that at multiple water cooler chats. And yeah, that can be a good venue for that.
Very cool. Yeah, excited. It's a bit early for me, so I'll try and make it. But excited for those Treasury calls.
Yeah, I think also the point was to do one a little bit at a different time zone, because I know the water cooler chat is tough for some with later hours to be able to make. So I'm sure the discussion will bridge the water coolers and the Treasury chat, but it'll be good to have multiple times available for people to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. And funny, it's not that early for me. It's good. It's good. No, that's exciting. I'm glad to see that come back. And if anyone wants to jump in on the call, I think the next one is Wednesday, correct?
That's right. Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. And if you have anything you want to talk about on that call, drop a note in the governance channel, tag at honestly rich is his handle. So he can make sure there's time carved out on the agenda.
Yeah, great. perfect. Yeah, I think.
And yeah, just on the topic really quick again. I think we'll talk about this on the call, but for those who aren't aware, it feels like there is about to be a significant amount of proposals made. I know there's at least 4 or 5 in the pre-proposal stage that are probably looking to go live in the next couple of weeks. So as orchestrators, keep your eye out, because everyone appreciates your staying on top of it and your votes.
Yeah, well, just to add one more to it, this is one that I was thinking about doing, which is not not doesn't need much of a governance vote, but right now there's no testnet treasury. So I wanted to test out the streaming contract on the testnet treasury to make sure that it worked properly. But it doesn't. It's not really live. I think it's on Go Early, and it was on a network that got deprecated, so it's just not even available to use. So I wanted to put through a treasury vote for 1 LPT just to fund the streaming contract, just so we can test the payouts, test the Guardian terminating, and that it gets sent back to the treasury properly, without having to do it. Like, it works in theory when you do it between accounts, like if we set up our own accounts to do it, but hopefully there's no contract glitch with the treasury paying into it or something silly. So one more potential.
Oh man, the one LPT vote. Yeah, well, let me put it this way. It would be great if there was a working testnet with the running the testnet Livepeer protocol that included the treasury, it included the round initializer, it included a running orchestrator so that people could test a stream on a testnet. There's a significant grant available for anyone who wants to propose and take that on and have funding released over milestones. I think that grant can certainly more than cover the costs for actually operating the testnet, but can also compensate the builder for the time that they're putting in doing that. So I know it's listed in the grants inspiration board, but definitely welcome someone taking on that project and asking for what they need for it to be worth their while, because I think the ecosystem really needs it.
Cool. All right. The Fantasy says we did some test streaming contract, but not the termination. Yes, of course. I did do the testing on the terminating of the contract. It works as advertised. It works great, but it's always nice to do that. Some sort of test net or actual live with a treasury contract to make it works perfectly. So. But there we go. Cool. Yeah, lots of talk about treasury stuff coming up. So excited for Wednesday. Head over to the governance channel to have those comments. Okay, cool. Any last topics or questions around treasury proposals, ingest nodes, AI models, any of that stuff? Eli, your topic was around the Aquarium roadmap. Do you want to quickly give us an update on what you've been doing there? And yeah.
Absolutely. So I just dropped a Miro link in the chat, and I'll go ahead and share what I am working on here. Let's try this. Cool. Can people see my screen there? I've been playing around with, in preparation for the live streaming I'm going to do in Aquarium, I've been playing around with my setup a little bit. So let me know if all that looks okay. So folks can take a look at this on their own pace, but so sort of what we've been up to since last week. There's been a few updates to the proposal based on feedback from this meeting, and also people commenting on Discord, commenting on the forums, at different pieces. There were a couple, I would say so a lot of enthusiasm around the proposal. I'm very excited about that. Glad people think it's promising and think it should be funded. The concerns people had, I would say there were a couple different categories. Some was around knowing exactly how the funds would be spent, and some was about, and some good feedback from Quan on the forums about sort of the concerned we were focused, that our focus was too spread out, that it was going to be this protocol, it was going to be a developer thing, it was going to be a thing, an end user application, that sort of thing. So sort of to address both of those, and give some specificity around what exactly we're going to be doing in what order. I put together this roadmap with Adam's help. Adam's at a doctor appointment right now, by the way. Wishes he could be here, but says he'll be in these in the future. So yeah, I'm not going to go line by line on this necessarily, but just to give some idea. So this app track in terms of this top row here is basically what we want the end user experience to look like in many ways. If you don't care about decentralized, this is a bad audience for this, but most people truly don't care that much about the decentralized underpinnings of the apps that they're using. They just want it to work. So in terms of the end user experience, this is what we're looking for. So in the pre-launch phase, this is when this is the Livepeer premiere, or this is the Aquarium premiere. This is when everything starts on July 16th here. We want to have an app shipped. This is already this is already happening in the background, but we want there to be an Aquarium iOS and Android app that you can boot up and get notifications when things go live. That's the main motivation there, though of course you can also watch the live streams in those in that app. No sort of decentralized live streaming yet, just going to be like for the Aquarium streams themselves as we boot up and scratch our own itch first before we move on to do everybody's. And then what we're looking for from the Treasury in terms of our roadmap is to get us through the alpha here. So basically by the end of the year, what we're looking toward is a working user-facing live streaming application. So this means users can stream in and play back each other's streams. They can, all of this is facilitated with the Blue Sky and Farcaster indexers, such that those are the identities. Those are the who of this. The people that can do all of these things are Blue Sky and Farcaster users. It'll be shipping, in the pre-proposal, we're just doing research, but by the alpha, we're looking to ship some C2PA primitives representing, and this will be the Livepeer protocol upgrades we'll be working on as well, to sort of transform the Livepeer transcoding process into something that produces these sort of signed artifacts with coherent provenance chains. That can be used for Aquarium, used for NFTs, used in lots of different sorts of contexts. And finally, the multi-node live stream replication, which is to say we can have lots of people spinning up Aquarium nodes. There won't be, we're not targeting for the alpha sort of like a incentivization protocol around like, okay, here's this person's going to do this much bandwidth, this person will do this much bandwidth, and combine all of that stuff. It'll be, I hope people are interested in running nodes, interested in it'll be manually configured at this stage, I mean to say. So people will be able to spin up nodes and say, okay, I agree that my node will replicate this person's live stream at this time. And I think that'll be enough for us to get started with. It'll be enough for us to spin up a bunch of first-party nodes if that's necessary, see how much enthusiasm there is on people helping us out with that. That's sort of probably going to be our biggest single line item in how the budget is going to be spent is spinning up enough server infrastructure to support however many streamers are interested in using the platform as we start to scale up. But the thinking is that we won't have to do that forever, because there will be people that want to also spin up Aquarium nodes, and any Aquarium node is capable of serving all of this content to people as long as the node operator approves of it. Yes. So I'm going to do a little bit more writing just around this and post it to the forums, answer people's questions, and then I think we'll be going live very, very soon. But I'm here to answer anyone's questions around Aquarium, this roadmap, or anything else.
Yeah, I mean, this looks great. I mean, from the last time I see you present, looks like it put a lot more thought into the timeline, the roadmap, which is really exciting. So, looks amazing. Eager to see how things progress. And yeah, what's your timeline for a Treasury proposal? Do you?
Adam and I have discussed it being today or tomorrow.
Excellent. And then, then probably the discussion around it will happen a bit more at the Treasury meeting on Wednesday too.
Yep. I think that timing works out great. That we will certainly be at that meeting and can answer people's questions as one of the proposals that will be active at this point.
Very
Hey,
cool.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Sorry, Ty. Just step on your toes there.
Oh, dude, go ahead.
All right. So I was just kind of like thinking about. I mean, I like the idea in principle. I'm like, just one thing I struggle with, because I'm not a user of Blue Sky or Farcast or anything, frames and stuff like that. I haven't really gone in and used those. Shame on me. But what have you done any kind of analysis or prototypes to see what crawling and indexing as content produces, and what your potential users, how they react to that aggregated content? Because the reason why I ask, I mean, I think the meta question to that is, how does this drive you to focus these milestones towards a very narrow focus that really goes directly towards the users you're targeting? And I, myself trying to envision what these users would look like, I ask myself, what's that content look like? And maybe it's the wrong question, but maybe you get the gist of it. Is like, how are you trying to get to a good product market fit without spending too much time building a whole bunch of infrastructure that isn't directly impacting your target user? So there's a lot of there. So I think it's really two parts. One is like, how are you trying to discover the right user, and what is the content you've been able to determine provides them the benefit that they're looking for, the value they're looking for, that you're able to pull from these indexers.
Yeah, yeah, good question. And to be clear, we I've got Blue Sky and Farcaster listed here right now. Adam and I thought that was going to be the right number of integrations to start with. If you make one, you haven't really created something generic. If you create 3, it's more work. We start with 2, and we want to add lots of different components here. So that there can be lots of data sources. Blue Sky and Farcaster is just the ones we wanted to start with. Product market fit and finding the right users. I worked with a lot of Twitch streamers. I have sort of 2 answers to that. One is that I worked with a lot of Twitch streamers before in my project I was working on before Livepeer. I've kept in contact with a lot of them. I watch a lot of Twitch. And in my experience, they're all furious at the platform. They're constant decisions coming down from Twitch that are affecting their livelihood, that are affecting how many views they can get. They're doing things like changing the subscription cost and which requires them to like invalidate everybody's auto pay, so everybody has to subscribe again, and that takes a big hit out of Twitch streamers' livelihood. So they are the people I've been talking to are furious with Twitch and very interested in even trying unpolished alternatives. There used to be a lot of alternative platforms to Twitch out there, and they all went out of business. Facebook Gaming, Mixer, Kick.com is still around, which is sort of like Twitch in a fake mustache in some ways. So yeah, it's my experience with that group of people that they are full-time Twitch streamers, very angry at the platform, generally pretty tech savvy, and willing to try out an unpolished product. So getting to them as quickly as possible is definitely core, like one of the strategies we're following there. The other one with the user facing, and this is why we see an iOS and Android app as being, shipping that as quickly as possible as being so crucial, is just that there is this emerging group of people around decentralized social that, like, a lot of them don't like the Twitter users that didn't like what happened to Twitter under Elon, and just like a lot of enthusiasts for, like, Blue Sky advertising themselves as they've set this up as billionaire proof, right? You can't just acquire it and go into that. So there's a lot of enthusiasts around decentralized social, and I think if you look at the success of something like Instagram Live, it's not that they had a big live streaming strategy. They just had Instagram and they added a live streaming button and they sort of developed everything around that, right? So very interested in just the document we wrote sort of describes this as millions of potential users available right away. Anybody that downloads the Aquarium app hits start streaming, it posts that to their Blue Sky or Farcaster profiles, and it's incredibly low effort to get started with that. And you don't need to understand all this decentralized stuff to get started with that, even though it's all happening in the background. And that's just something new that the people haven't been able to do before. I'm hoping there's just going to be, if we make it super easy for people to use, that there's going to be organic growth there. But it's something we can really push on that side of the community. So yeah, two groups of people that I think will be very interested.
Maybe I didn't spend enough time reading the proposal then, because when I read it, the first thing I started thinking about was more of a YouTube alternative for people to view the Web3 multimedia content that's out there, maybe even in like a shorts format where you're kind of like flipping through, swiping through, scrolling through the content on the Web3 that's indexed by categories and your own personal preferences. And it sounds like you're actually looking at the other end more around content creation and attracting creators rather than bringing in eyeballs that are looking at the content that's already out there.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, and I think you're right that the proposal could. I'm very much in my mind thinking of this is something creators will be interested in, though I do think it's also, there are also these. It's a pretty young environment. I actually associate this more with Lens than Farcaster right now, but there are videos out there already that people have published to decentralized profiles that we can immediately use to, that piece of it exists as well. And because we have to be indexing this, maybe to just sort of draw a line between those two different points as you're describing, we are not looking to create like our own database of user content, right? All of these live stream channels that people create and all of the VODs that they do so by interacting with the upstream social networks. We don't want to be a social network. We don't want to be the source of truth for any of this stuff. We're an indexing and processing layer after all of that. So that's why the indexing layer is so essential. Even if we were focused on content creators, the content creators are going to be posting to Blue Sky, Farcaster, Lens, what have you, and then we're the app they use to do that. We're the app that people use to watch videos on that. So that's why both of those pieces are very necessary.
All right, so it's both users you have in mind: content creators to use your platform as a syndication tool, and the users to be able to view the material, but they don't necessarily need to view it. They're not necessarily viewing it through Aquarium, are they? Or are they going still through the third party site like Farcaster or Blue Sky?
Great question. Yeah, I don't know. It comes down to start out, they will be going to Aquarium. But I think I want this to be viewable in lots of different places. Like, first of all, I would love if these upstream applications are like, oh, I can either display a a raw MP4 file somebody uploaded, which doesn't work on phones and is super high bandwidth and stinks, or I can embed the Aquarium view of this, and I get Livepeer transcoding. I get maybe WebRTC output, HLS in different formats, like all the sort of rich ecosystem of everything. So I would love if people then wanted to embed it in those apps. Another use case, I haven't been talking about this very much because it's a little stretch goaly, but I would love as a creator, especially as a creator, let's say I'm moving from Twitch to Aquarium. Don't move from Twitch to Aquarium, and I'm a big creator. I've got some resources. Don't move from Twitch to Aquarium. Move from Twitch to my app, right? Which is a forked version of Aquarium that uses all of the same tools, even uses the same code base and everything, but displays push notifications for this particular creator instead, displays just that creator's videos, that sort of thing. Maybe it displays content that they decide to host for other people, that kind of thing. I don't want to promise that. That's like a whole ecosystem around like creator specific applications, but I know that kind of thing is very appealing to creators that want to move. Don't move from one platform to another. Move from YouTube to your own platform that's powered by Aquarium, but you own the front end, you own the app. I think that would be really, but all of the primitives are still interoperable between all these different apps. I think that's something that would be really interesting to them.
Okay, cool. I appreciate you helping me understand a little better.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Very cool. Any other comments or questions for Eli? Cool. Eli, any other comments or things you want to share?
No, not so much. Look for the actual proposal to go live within the next couple of days.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you for sharing. I think that covers all of our topics for today. Does anyone else have any topics that we haven't covered that you would like to cover? All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end it there. Thank you, everyone, for joining and making this water cooler chat successful, and learning about all things Livepeer, making Livepeer the open and decentralized video infrastructure in the world. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Cheers.